Now on CoastTV News.
Full shopping carts, a recent ruling by federal judges in Rhode Island on food stamp benefits and what it means for recipients.
Bollards battle. Some business owners on Rehoboth Avenue say the safety barriers are going to cause more harm than good.
Health insurance costs, the heart of the government shutdown fight that could cost Delawareans more.
We're seeing wicked winds on our Halloween with ghoulish gales for the ghosts and goblins this evening and a pretty good looking November weekend. Details coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
A lifeline for millions of Americans on food assistance announced today.
Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with breaking news.
As the federal government shutdown hits 1 month today, millions of Americans who rely on government assistance to eat are getting relief from a federal court.
2 judges forcing the Trump administration to keep paying SNAP benefits even as the government is shut down. The rulings affect more than 40 million people. As NBC's Ryan Nobles reports on Capitol Hill, Democrats and Republicans continue pointing fingers over who's to blame for the shutdown.
For millions of Americans set to lose government assistance to buy food Saturday, a reprieve. Friday afternoon, 2 federal judges nearly at the same time ordered the Trump administration to continue funding SNAP even as the government shutdown continues. The White House had said that government food assistance would end Saturday. The order affects more than 40 million Americans. But the court order does not solve the bigger problem. We're now 1 month into the federal government shutdown, and there's seemingly just one thing Democrats and Republicans in Washington agree on.
Your government is failing you right now.
Republicans pointing the finger at Senate Democrats, blaming them for the fallout of thousands of federal workers going without paychecks and the threat of millions being kicked off government assistance at any moment.
Every American who is concerned about this, every American that is feeling the harm, you should call the Senate Democrats and tell them to stop the nonsense.
But Democrats say a bigger crisis is on the horizon, and they won't vote to reopen the government until it's taken care of.
Republicans in Congress are still refusing to work with Democrats to stop the looming health care premium increases.
I'm always going to meet. All they have to do is open up the country.
Affordable Care Act premiums are set to see their biggest price hikes in more than a decade if Congress doesn't extend expiring federal subsidies. Millions of Americans caught in the middle.
It's not our fault that the government shut down, and obviously we would like our leaders to come to some sort of agreement or at least receive a paycheck.
In Washington, Chef Jose Andres' World Central Kitchen, which usually feeds the needy in disasters and war zones, is feeding furloughed federal workers. And across the country, food banks have been bracing for an influx of SNAP recipients as the fight over continuing those benefits rages on.
SNAP provides 9 times the amount of food that the charitable food system does.
I'm proud this place here, where we can get the things that we need.
The Trump administration says that members of the U.S. military did get paid today, their second full paycheck, despite the government shutdown. A budget official saying the White House is using a mixture of legislative and Defense Department funds to cover those military paychecks. Ryan Nobles, NBC News, Washington.
This week, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer announced a state of emergency to allow weekly state funding for SNAP recipients in the face of this funding lapse caused by the shutdown. Meyer said the program could run out of money, though, if the government does not reopen. Delaware's plan will cover the cost of the program through the month of November.
And yesterday, Maryland Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency due to the expected federal pause on funding for food stamps. Moore says $10 million will be allocated to food banks across Maryland to alleviate the possible scarcity once SNAP benefits run out. Governor Moore previously said Maryland would not cover the loss of SNAP funding, arguing the state had no guarantee that the Trump administration would reimburse for the expense.
Now to Rehoboth Beach, where these bollards and swing gates were approved by the city 2 weeks ago. And during that meeting, one business owner presented a petition of why the city should not go forward with this security project.
CoastTV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live in Rehoboth Beach.
And Brandon, the businesses that started the petition, they're right up against the bollards.
Christina, the owner of Go Fish, a restaurant right here on the end of Rehoboth Avenue. The owner has gathered over 15 signatures from other owners and managers on Rehoboth Avenue. They claim the city never asked them about the bollards and swing gates projects before approving it.
Bollards behind the bandstand and in front of the bathrooms on Rehoboth Avenue. The city approved this, but some business owners say they wish the city did not. A petition signed by 16 businesses claim they were never consulted by the city before moving forward with plans.
I think it's just common sense.
That's Jeff Hausman. He's been a co-owner of EC Shades since the early 90s. He thinks the city should at least talk to the businesses.
If you're going to do something that's going to affect the businesses, you should, you probably made your decision up, but you need to at least talk to people and find out what the businesses think.
Allison Blythe is the owner of the Go Fish restaurant right here on Rehoboth Avenue. She's been doing business in Rehoboth Beach since 1988. She says these bollards will create a barrier for businesses and create more safety problems here on the avenue. Safety is exactly why one couple I spoke with off camera here in Rehoboth Beach say they like the bollards and the new swing gates that will go at the entrances before the bandstand circle.
The city says the materials for the bollards will cost around $420,000, with construction costs totaling the bollards and swing gate projects at $1.1 million.
Blythe says the mayor here in Rehoboth Beach, Stan Mills, told her and other Rehoboth Avenue business owners to go to the December workshop meeting to further discuss the relationship between business owners here on the avenue and the city. Live in Rehoboth Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Millions of Americans who rely on the Affordable Care Act could pay a lot more if enhanced premium subsidies expire at the end of this year. Let's take a look at some examples. According to KFF estimates, a single person making $22,000 a year will pay $66 more each month for a typical plan. Around 40% of enrollees who earn between $24,000 and $63,000 will see a rise of about $132. And then some of this depends on age. If you make $65,000 and you're 27 years old, your bill would go up $80. But if you are 60, your bill would go up a staggering $920. In Delaware, there are about 50,000 people enrolled in the Affordable Care Act.
And Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is in our newsroom.
Emma, the Delaware Health Association says this could hurt everybody.
The Delaware Healthcare Association says if these subsidies expire, healthcare will cost more and hospital wait times will be longer for everyone. The association says the ripple effects of the move would be huge and it could put a strain on the entire Delaware healthcare system. We said she's scared for her family members who use Obamacare, worrying that they won't be able to pay their bills completely. Christiana Bryan with the Delaware Healthcare Association says thousands of Delawareans could be paying more for health insurance and health care, and says a lot of people could be out of health insurance altogether.
This will put a strain on our hospitals. We'll see even longer emergency department wait times. We'll see a strain on our healthcare workforce because they're going to see higher volumes of patients that have more complex needs and worse conditions.
Again, these subsidies will expire at the end of 2025 unless Congress comes to a compromise. And this all comes after prices for next year's Obamacare health insurance plans became public this week. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Emma. This brings us into our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what is your biggest healthcare worry?
Let's take a look at the results here. Most people, 84%, say expensive monthly premiums. Just 3% say surprise bills. A few say prescription drug prices and emergency care.
If you haven't voted yet, it is easy to do. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Now let's take a live look outside into Ocean City. Check in with our First Alert meteorologist Bob Trihey on this spooky evening.
Yeah, boy, Charlie. Yeah, wicked winds on this Halloween. At least a lot of sunshine, but look at these winds gusting 28 in Georgetown, 25 miles per hour at Bethany Beach, 24 in Redden, but not nearly as gusty as earlier. We had gusts 40 to 45 miles per hour. Still a wind advisory until midnight for the area shaded in tan. So essentially all of southern Delaware is in this wind advisory. Temperature's not too bad. Lower 60s right now, 63 in Redden, Millsboro 61, Indian River Inlet 61. As we're looking at mostly clear skies, but you're going to have to batten down the hatches. Make sure you secure those Halloween decorations, and those kids have some heavier clothes under their costumes as we have a northwesterly flow, strong low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. That's why it's so windy. That wind just getting squeezed with that pressure gradient. This evening, here's 6 p.m., temperatures in the 50s. So trick-or-treating time, temperatures falling through the 50s as the wind slowly slacken off later on. And so for the trick-or-treaters this evening, hang on to those candy bags. We're looking at 58 at 6, 56 at 7, and then 52 and windy by 8 o'clock. But a much nicer, calmer weekend. More on that coming up a little bit later on.
Rescue efforts currently underway across the Caribbean after Hurricane Melissa tore through the region.
But first, stay with us for some cool things to do this weekend. We have Halloween fun, plus ways to prepare for the season of giving up next. There are some spooky adventures to enjoy this weekend, plus you can get ahead on some holiday shopping. In Lewis, you can join a haunted history tour on Saturday and explore the eerie tales of the historic Burton Ingram House, discover what lingering spirits may remain there. You are encouraged to bring a flashlight. It is the perfect time of year to head to the Pumpkin Patch, and if you head to Grassroots Rescue's Pumpkin Patch Adoption Bash in Lewis, you can leave with a new furry friend on Saturday. The Rehoboth Art League's 41st annual Holiday Fair Fine Craft Show is happening all weekend. Jewelry, glasswork, ceramics, and more will all be on display. Why not get your holiday shopping done early this year? And you can also do that at the Tanger Outlets. Their holiday shopping kickoff is on Saturday. More than 60 of the area's finest artists, crafters, and local boutiques will be set up at the Seaside Outlets from 11 to 4. And you can head to CoastTV.com for a full breakdown of event tickets, details, and more.
It's been an incredibly windy Halloween all across Delmarva. Still windy this evening. 61 in Rehoboth on the Boardwalk Plaza cam right now as the wind is blowing out, kind of knocking the waves down as temperatures falling through the 50s this evening as the ghosts and goblins are heading out for trick-or-treating. We're saying rest in peace to the summer warmth and those 8 p.m. sunsets. It's getting darker early, especially into this weekend as the clocks go back. And for the trick-or-treaters with all that candy, well, make sure they're hanging on to that basket or the bucket this evening. Wicked winds, bone-chilling breeze, 59 at 6, 56 at 7, 55 at 8, but with those winds feeling more like 40s. So it's going to be spooktacular, so hold on to your candy. Winds gusting 45, maybe 50 miles per hour, but I think the strongest winds are behind us. Then for the weekend, hello November and sunshine, and not as windy as the clocks go back. More on that coming up, but we continue a wind advisory from the coast towards inland Sussex County. That continues until midnight. We've had that all day long, and those winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour. Now they've backed off a little bit, but still gusting 33 in Ocean City, 31 in Millsboro, 31 at Indian River Inlet, and temperatures in the low 60s, 62 in Laurel, 61 in Millsboro and Dagsboro, with 61 in Rehoboth right now. As we're looking at mainly clear skies, but all that wind is due to strong low pressure to the north and high pressure building in from the south and west. And right in between those systems, that wind is squeezed with the pressure gradient. That's why those winds are howling. But as high pressure gets closer into the weekend, those winds will start to die down. But it's a windy Halloween evening. Temperatures falling through the 50s, but feeling colder with those strong winds. As we head into the midnight hour, around 52, lower 50s expected. And then by Saturday morning, we're in the 40s. And then Saturday, we're looking at, well, windy conditions once again, not as windy as today with a mix of sun and clouds. clouds and temperatures into the 50s and low 60s. Then as those winds start to quiet down tomorrow night, we could be looking maybe at some patchy frost, depending on cloud cover, maybe some upper 30s inland areas as we go into Sunday morning. But those winds really howling this evening, over 30 miles per hour. And then as we go into your Saturday, they start to calm down, but it's still breezy as high pressure is getting closer. We're looking at highs in the 60s, lows in the 30s and 40s. That slight chance of frost possible Sunday morning inland areas, then a bit warmer Sunday afternoon. And a sneaky little system, I think, brings some rain showers on Monday, not a major system. And then remember, clocks go back 1 hour as we go into Sunday morning, a good time to check the smoke alarms and the CO detectors as well. More importantly, get an extra hour of sleep, and the sun sets an hour earlier, close to 5 p.m. Here's your Paul Davis 7-day forecast. 62 on Saturday, 64 Sunday. There's that rain chance Monday at 62, and then we're in the mid to upper 60s Tuesday into Wednesday, then cooling down, in fact colder by the end of the week. Rescue efforts are currently underway across the Caribbean after Hurricane Melissa tore through the region as one of the most powerful Atlantic storms in more than 150 years. Ivan Rodriguez tells us the full toll of the catastrophic storm may take days or weeks to be determined.
Days after Hurricane Melissa made landfall in Jamaica, parts of the island remain inaccessible.
They are cutting their way on foot through blocked roads. By foot. This is not easy.
Emergency officials are picking up the pieces and clearing roads to reach isolated communities in need of relief. Torrential downpours and forceful winds unleash widespread destruction across the Caribbean, damaging homes, causing severe flooding and widespread power outages, and forcing the evacuation of hundreds of thousands.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. It was devastating. It was, and the wind and the rain. It was unprecedented.
In Haiti, Melissa did not make a direct landfall, but was still deadly and caused flooding. In Cuba, roads are also covered in mud and trees, leaving many communities isolated from help. Cuba is already receiving some aid from partners such as China and Venezuela, as well as the United Nations. But Jamaica took the heaviest battering. Melissa made landfall there as a Category 5 storm, with estimated maximum sustained winds of 185 miles per hour.
I think the entire Jamaica is really broken. We are working to get to those who need as much assistance as possible.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio activated the Regional Disaster Assistance Response Team on October 29th. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Tonight on DSN Scoops and Scores at 5:30, the main game at 6 p.m. North Carolina at Colonel Richardson. In football at 9:30 p.m. 1CW Pro Wrestling. After that at 10:30 p.m. Nittany Game of the Weekend, wrapping up at 11 p.m. the final score. And we have your Sunday Night Football right here on Coast TV. The Commanders taking on the Seahawks. Coverage begins at 7. Then stay right here for Coast TV News following the game. Coast TV News at 5. We'll be right back.
The Wicomico County Sheriff's Office has arrested 2 Salisbury men after investigators say they retaliated against a trial witness. At around 11:45 a.m., sheriffs say they responded to the Wicomico County Circuit Court. Sheriffs say they saw audience members Cameron Cullen and Israel Wallace follow out and confront a witness after a testimony. The office says Cologne and Israel shouted at and tried to assault the witness. Both were arrested and are being charged.
The FBI fired a special agent connected to the probe into President Donald Trump. Aaron Tapp, the agent fired, was the special agent in charge of the FBI's San Antonio office. Tapp oversaw investigations into Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Republicans released FBI records detailing of that investigation and accused the FBI's leaders of political motives. Tapp had worked for the FBI for more than 20 years.
Now here's a live look outside into Dover, and we'll have one more check on your forecast coming up after the break.
Make sure the trick-or-treaters bundled up under those costumes. It's going to be blustery out there and all that candy. It's going to be so good. Windy at 6:59, 56 at 7. Still windy at 8:52. Congratulations to Dave Gannon from Millville on winning a brand new umbrella from CoastTV and Paul Davis. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Clocks go back 1 hour Sunday morning. And Sunday looking good. 64. Looks like another rain chance by Sunday. Well, I should say Monday, 62, 63 Tuesday, 65 on Wednesday, and then cool and dry by the end of the week, and then maybe more rain next weekend. But I'm concerned this evening for those big inflatables, the big Halloween pumpkins, and make sure they're hunkered down and the kids are hanging on to that candy.
Yeah, because those winds, I mean, there's a lot to be blown around.
There is, absolutely, yes. Yeah, so just be safe out there, but at least it's dry.
All right, well, thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.